What's happening, good people? Welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Boldr Venture Wayfarer. A little bit of a mouthful, but that's what I'm going to be reviewing today. Before we do that, quick wristwatch check. We're actually still wearing the Citizen, which was kindly provided to review by Troy from the Bold Watch Collector. Definitely give him a follow and a subscribe if you don't already. So let's get into the review. And as you can see, we have the Y dial variant. This does actually come in a few other colorways as well. I think there's a blue one and a different color as well. But I've obviously got this one, and I think it's probably the nicest out of the bunch, minus the blue one. I'm a bit torn between the two. So anyway, what we're going to do is get the dimensions and all that information out of the way, and then we're going to talk a little bit more in detail about this watch. So first of all, it is a 38mm diameter, which is really nice and compact, great for us guys with slim wrists. So thanks to Boldr for catering to us guys with slimmer wrists, but it will also fit if you've got slightly thicker wrists too. So it is 12mm thick, excluding the NATO. You can see we have drilled lugs as well, which is really nice. We have a standard 20mm lug width. It is 44mm lug tip to lug tip. We have a full titanium case, which is something Boldr really do a lot of. We've also got a titanium crown as well, which is screw down. We've also got a screw down case back, which I will show you later on in the video. We have a flat sapphire crystal, Japanese super Lume, which again I'll talk more about in a little bit. And we also have 200 meters of water resistance, which is really quite impressive actually, for a field watch. Usually field watches have between 50 and 100 meters, so to have 200 meters I think is really impressive. So first things first, and that is the design. And you know what, I'm a big fan of the design. As you know, if you've watched my previous videos, I love titanium as a finish. It's right up there with sandblasted steel and also brushed steel. Definitely one of my favourite finishes. And you can see it carries all through the bezel to the really nicely designed case, to the case back, and also the crown as well. So everything is titanium. You might not be a fan of it. I personally think it looks absolutely fantastic. It just makes the watch look a little bit more rugged and a little bit more tough than say a polished watch would. I think polished watches look great for dress watches and stuff like that, but definitely no place on a field watch. Especially you're supposed to wear these out and about, and a polished watch would just get ruined. Whereas a field watch like this can take a little bit more of a beating, and that's why I like them so much. So you can see we've just got a really nice profiled bezel, which again is titanium. And then we've got a really nice profile case as well. You can see we've got a really sharp edge there. And then it's actually really nice and curvy as well. We've got a sharp line there, sharp angles there. And Boldr are really good at merging, really sharp angles and really, clean cut edges with rounded edges as well. So you can see we've got a really nice curve there and a curve here, and then it's all mixed together with really clean cut sharp lines, and it makes for a really modern looking field watch. If you've seen like a classic style field watch like this one here, so this is more like a traditional style field watch, which is the G10 by Cooper, their Pathfinder. So that's more of a traditional style field watch, whereas Boldr have gone a little bit more modern, and I really like it. I like both styles, but yeah, I definitely appreciate Boldr doing something a little bit different. So taking a look at that dial, you can see we've got a printed minute track and little Lume markers all the way around. We've got Arabics at 12, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 and 11. At the 3 o'clock we've got a little bordered date window, and at the 9 we've actually got a 24-hour subdial if my camera will focus. So as you change the time, that actually changes with it. So yeah, it's not working at the minute because it's not wound. So the handset is like a mix of sort of needle and also fence post. So it's like a fence post with a needle tip. And then we've got a needle second hand as well, which has got a little pop of orange just to give it a nice bit of contrast. The dial is also Y, as you can see, and it is very nicely textured. I'll see if I can get some nice shots of it just to show you the texture, because it is very nicely textured. It's also slightly metallic as well. I've noticed in some light it really sort of catches it, and it looks like it's got a little bit of metallic in it, which is really cool as well. So let's take a look at that crown, and you can see it is signed and embossed with the Boldr logo. And we'll actually take a look at the case back next. And like I mentioned already, it is a screw down case back, which is always nice to see. So if you're familiar with Boldr's design, you'll actually be familiar with this design, and this was actually on their first, one of their first or possibly first field watches. I actually owned one a while back and sold it, because it didn't get much wrist time, unfortunately, but that had the exact same design work on it. You can also see screw down and a full titanium case back as well, which is really, really nice. Right, so let's get the strap back on and actually talk about the strap, because this is one of the parts of the watch that does actually lay it down for me slightly, which I'll talk about now. So we'll start with the hardware first, and you can see it is titanium. It has picked up a few little scratches though. I've noticed that this model does actually scratch a little bit easier and mark a bit easier than previous Boldrs I've had. So yeah, I'm not really sure what's going on there, but you can see we've got fully matching titanium hardware throughout. Really nicely integrated buckle. It's really well set, really nicely set tang as well. It's not like all wobbly and flimsy feeling, which is really good. And you can see we've got another titanium keeper. My only issue really with this is, I'll come to it in a second actually, because I've got to talk about the stitching first. And stitching, you know, it looks pretty reasonable. It's nice and clean, double stitched keepers in place. Really nice clean stitching all the way throughout. My only complaint about this is it's actually starting to fray a little bit. The holes are still maintaining the shape though, which is really nice to see, and there is plenty of adjustment holes as well, so it'll fit guys, like I said, with slim wrists like me, and also guys with thicker wrists. You can also see the little problem there where the strap is starting to fray a little bit. And also my biggest problem with this strap is it's just a little bit too rough, in my opinion. I mean, some people you know, might like that are more textured and rugged feeling NATO strap. I personally like the softer, smoother one. This one, I think it looks really nice on this watch. Don't get me wrong, I really love the style of it, but it's just too rough, and it's not as flexible as some of the others as well. It just feels a little bit more rigid, and I have wore this watch a lot. I've had it for like over a month now, and it just doesn't feel that nice. It's definitely not up to par. I think they could have gone and you know, put a better NATO in, or even supplied it with a second different NATO, just for a little bit of something different. But yeah, I'm definitely not a fan of this material. Is pretty much what I'm trying to say. So next up is comfort and in use. So in use, like I said, we've got a screw down crown, and because there's no crown guards, it's really easy to use. So you just give it a little twist out, and then one pull out is for your date, two pulls out is for your time, and you can see it adjusts really nicely. One thing I have noticed though is the crown feels really notchy. You can actually feel every single individual twist. I'm not sure if that's you know, the crown, or if it's the myota movement, but I've had myota movements in the past that have been a little bit gritty and a bit notchy, so I'm thinking it could be that, or it could be a combination of that and the crown and stem, so I'm not really sure, but it definitely doesn't feel all that great in use. It works really well, it's smooth, but yeah, it's a little bit of a shame. So what I'm going to do now is take the Citizen off, put this on wrist, and show you what it wears like. Right guys, so here is the Boldr Wayfarer on my 6-inch wrist, and you know what, it fits absolutely perfectly here, thanks to the small 44mm lug to lug. So if you've got slim wrists like myself, then this will definitely fit you absolutely perfectly. My only real complaint about this is the strap again. The watch head feels really nice on wrist, and it's really comfortable. The profile is a little bit flat, so it doesn't, you know, conform and hug your wrist really nicely. But because I've got a really flat profile wrist anyway, then it sits quite comfortably on me. So yeah, I've definitely no complaints there. Might be a little bit different if you've got much thicker wrists. It might not wear as good for you, but it wears all right for me. Like I said, my biggest complaint is this strap. It's really rough, and it doesn't feel all that nice against your skin. It's not like too tight or thingy. It just gets a little bit itchy, especially in hotter weather that we've been having at the minute. It can get a little bit irritating to wear, unfortunately, and it does sweat your wrist a lot as well, because it's quite coarse and thick nylon. You can see we've got 3 adjustment holes left over, which is really good. So it will definitely fit guys down to probably a 5-inch wrist, which is really nice. So good job on Boldr for actually doing that. Because I know some companies don't and they only make them to fit a certain size. But Boldr is definitely catering to a massive range of wrist sizes. It's just a shame that the strap isn't quite up to par with the rest of the watch. Like I said, it's really not that comfortable, unfortunately. Which... again, it's not, I wouldn't call it a deal breaker by any stretch of the imagination, because you can easily find a replacement on places like AliExpress for next to nothing that are better than this one. But they just won't have colour matching hardware, which does get my OCD going a little bit. So anyway, let's talk about the Lume next. And here we go. So this watch obviously has Lume. It's got lumed hands and also Lume on the dial as well. And you know what? The Lume is actually pretty good. Boldr is always impressed with the Lume. It's not Seiko good, which is sort of like the ballpark for watches at this price point. It's definitely what I compare it to. So it's not as good as Seiko's Lume, but it's definitely good in its own right. It gets bright, it lasts long, the application is pretty clean and looks really nice in low light, and it does make legibility really nice as well in low light situations. So you're definitely impressed with the Lume for the price point. Could it be better? Yeah, it could be, but it's definitely really good. But like I said, it's not amazing. So yeah, that's that. Then we get on to the movement, and this is a Miyota 8217, which, like I said, is a small seconds 24-hour subdial. So the accuracy for that movement is -20 to +40 per day, so not that accurate to be fair. It's got a pretty decent 42-hour power reserve, 21,600 beats per hour. You can just see it sweeping away there. 21 joules, and it is automatic and manual winding. So yeah, really, yeah, it's a goodish movement. I do have problems with Miyotas. This one's got a noisy rotor, which is something I've noticed while I've been wearing it. It does rattle a little bit. I'm not sure if Seiko actually do this movement, which is what I should have suggested they've gone with if they actually do a small 24-hour subdial. I'm not sure if Seiko actually make one or not, which is a little bit of a shame, especially not in a mechanical form. I'm pretty sure they probably do one as a quartz, but not as an automatic. So that's probably why they've gone the Miyota route. But Miyota are known for having problems, and this one does as well. Like I said already in the use section, the movement feels a little bit grating when actually using the crown. And like I said, it's really noisy as well. And also not that accurate, especially when compared to something like a Seiko NH35. So yeah. There is that. So now we get on to my final thoughts and the price. So this is $339, which I actually think is a pretty good price. I just wish that they would bundle an extra strap with it, and I also wish that they'd possibly go with a different movement perhaps, or if they can't go with a different movement, maybe switch to a quartz and drop the price a little bit, just to get rid of all the little issues I'm having with this Miyota. Obviously, these issues might not be widespread, and other people might not have had the same problems I have with the noisy rotor and the gritty, horrible notchy feedback. So yeah, is it worth its price? I would say, you know what, it is a good price watch actually. I can't really complain about it too much. Definitely get a different strap for it though, but you are going to be struggling to find, ones with titanium hardware, which is a little bit of a shame. I think you can actually pick up straps from Boldr's website, which is something I'd recommend, looking at something different though than this one, because it's just not up to par, unfortunately. It's got a few little QC issues, and it's just not comfortable, unfortunately. But the watch is, really lightweight. It wears really nice on wrist. It's really comfortable. Definitely an everyday wear watch, no problem. Lume's pretty decent as well. So all in all, I'm impressed with it. And I think it's a very fair price watch. It also comes in this really nice hard shell case as well, which keeps it nice and protected. So yeah, it's definitely got some good points. It's got a few bad points, but I think the good outweighs the bad. So that is pretty much it for this one. Definitely hit that subscribe button for more videos coming soon. You can see I've got a couple of little watches there which are on the channel already, and I've got one that's going to be reviewed soon. So yeah, that is pretty much it for this one. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon.